I'll let you introduce this one.
Oh, okay. Well, that's very kind. Hello everyone, both on State of Flux and Huge Movie Fanatics, recording for both of our channels. Nate and Matt coming at you once again for another video. If memory serves, I'm getting older and not younger. I think we're here to talk about Alligator, correct?
We are here to talk about Alligator.
Now, this is something that you asked me to see, so we could review it. I'm kind of interested to see why. Well, you know, if this is this will be interesting to see if this is a movie you like, or if a movie you want to. Do you want to start? Because I'm really interested in hearing why this title, out of nowhere, just Alligator. And for the record, I've known about it forever, and I love Robert Forster as an actor, and I was excited. Anything that he's in, I'm fine to see. And I can remember an interview. I don't know what the hell it was for. If it was for Avalanche or something, where he talked about one of his best experiences on a movie was Alligator or something. Have you seen that?
I have not. No.
It might have been for the Blu-ray release of Avalanche. He might have been taught. Maybe he might have said that in his Avalanche interview.
Until you mentioned it, had forgotten that Avalanche was a movie that I've seen. But it was a good one, if memory serves.
I like it. I like them winter, disaster movies.
Yeah, I went through a small period where I liked those. Alligator is a movie that I came to, and this, I guess, is a slight tease for my channel, everybody. I am committing to doing a year-by-year movie, best of the year movie lineup, where I watch a bunch of different movies.
Every movie from each year.
I have a very detailed. There's going to be an explanation when it comes up.
Okay.
But I put it to a poll on my channel, which decade to start, and the 80s resoundingly won. No surprise there. So I started with the year 1980, and so I was just picking a bunch of movies.
Oh, okay.
And one of the ones that I chose.
Well, it was at the beginning alphabet.
Well, that's not why. One of the ones that I chose was Alligator because I needed to sub something else out because I just didn't have access to it. So I swapped in Alligator for something else, and the reason I watched Alligator is back in the day my dad used to have what I thought of as the film Bible. It was a Leonard Maltin book of movie reviews.
We might have something like that too.
And he would come out with new editions of it every couple of years, and my dad and I would pick them all up every time they came out. And because Alligator's at the beginning, I would just look for movies that were positively reviewed. And I saw Alligator was always a positively reviewed movie. He gave it 3 out of 4 stars, and he just traditionally didn't like violent movies, so I thought that was kind of neat. I'd always meant to see it, but I also at the same time would look at that poster and be like, I just wrote it off as being a crappy Jaws knockoff.
One of the many Jaws knockoffs. I recently saw, which was horrible, very briefly. I don't have to talk about it. God dang it, my old brain. It was an octopus. Tentacles, I think it's called. Tentacles.
Tentacles?
Tentacles. I saw it on YouTube.
Interesting.
Tentacles.
I've not heard of that.
Because, the title of Jaws is the dangerous part of the shark.
Yeah.
What's the dangerous part of the octopus?
Yeah, I guess.
The tentacles. Anyway.
So I came to Alligator.
Sorry.
I came to Alligator, and I was like, you know what, let's give it a shot. I didn't even know who was in it.
Oh, you didn't know that? Okay.
No, and...
when was this? When did you see it?
The day I texted you.
Oh, so recently.
Yeah.
Well, it was kind of a while ago, but this year?
Yeah, this year. It was in May.
Okay, yeah, okay.
June?
Yep, okay.
I think it was June.
Yeah, it was quite a while ago.
I was shocked to discover how much I enjoyed the movie, because I did write it off as being a crappy Jaws knockoff, and to a certain extent it is, but particularly the first half of the movie is insanely good. It pulls you in, and it's much like Jaws. It tells a personal story first, or alongside this creature feature aspect of the movie, which I think most of the Jaws knockoffs, like Piranha and all those things, didn't really do that. They just kind of launched full force into, there's creature out there, we gotta stop it, and you didn't really get, you get to know any of the characters, or it's just all fodder.
Fodder. I'm your fodder, Luke.
Robert Forster, you actually got to know a little bit.
Now,
And he's good.
Did you like him before you seen Alligator? At
Oh
all?
yeah,
I probably saw him first in the Black Hole in the '80s. I was like,
I've still
God.
not seen that movie. Yeah, I know. I've not seen that one. That's one of the of my. I will review that one when I get to that in the '80s. That said, my first introduction to him was Jackie Brown. And
Oh, okay,
he was
yeah.
fantastic in that. So that's when back when I saw that 15, 20 years ago, I started seeing other movies that he was in. Never realized he was in Alligator. But I thought, as I say, like, the movie's an hour and a half. I think the first hour of that movie is really good, really tight. It builds suspense. They go visceral pretty fast with, like, that opening scene where the...
I was surprised about that. Like a minute or not even a minute in, all of a sudden we're gonna rip his leg off.
Yeah, it goes hard fast, and then it pulls back and gives you, like, a lot of time for the sort of suspense to swell. And then once it goes full creature mayhem, it just kind of becomes more of the same as other creature features. But I was impressed with the filmmaking of the movie. I thought it was well made. I thought it was well acted. I particularly liked Forrester in it. I thought it was a solid 3-star creature feature. And so I was wondering what you thought of it. And I was surprised to hear that you hadn't seen it.
Yeah, I guess it never really interested me, and unfortunately it still doesn't, I'm afraid. But you mentioned character development. Like, what the hell characters development? Like Robert Forster?
Yeah, Forrester. Like, much like you spend a lot of the beginning of Jaws kind of getting to know Brody in his day-to-day life.
It's
You
kind of like that.
get that with him. Like, it's not just there's a shark out there and we have to stop it, like Jaws 2. It's you actually get a little bit of time with him. He has this like alligator in front of him that he's trying to ward off or stop or discover or whatever. But you're seeing how he goes about doing that, which worked for me. I was invested in him as a character.
I love Robert Forster, and I was excited to see this because, like, 1980, I mean, I like a lot of movies from 1980 and Robert Forster and, like, creature feature and stuff. And honestly, when it did begin like that, where it was like, holy crap, like, the violent scene, like, within the first minute of the movie, I was excited. But then it was kind of like, oh, the girl wants the little pet alligator. I can't remember, I imagine the story or whatever they call it, the urban legend, was it before this movie, or did this movie start?
Yeah, that dates back to like the 50s and stuff
50s,
like that.
okay. So this movie follows the urban legend of the
Probably
flushing even before then, maybe 1731, who knows. Flushing the baby alligator down the toilet, and then it ends up eating. There's some big huge pharmaceutical or something company doing tests on dogs with growth hormones or something, and they throw the corpses into the sewer, so this thing's been eating them corpses, and monster mayhem ensues. And I'd probably agree with you, like, the first third is probably, for me, the strongest part of the movie as well. And then honestly, like, because I don't know what the hell it is about Robert Forster, like, I could watch him just eat cereal watching TV in the morning. Like, he's just so just like the everyday kind of guy. There's some charisma for me that Robert Forster. I've always liked him, and for me, that's the biggest strength about the movie is Robert Forster.
I mean, I agree.
And for me, like, as the movie wore on, I got so tired of seeing the sewers. For me, a big part of a movie that, makes me like a movie, like In a Violent Nature, for example, Friday the 13th, Meatballs, whatever, is just a beautiful location.
Yeah, you're not going to find that in a sewer.
And this movie takes place, a lot of it, maybe half or a third of it, if you add it all together, it takes place in these, what stands in for possibly real sewer pipes and stuff. And I can be down there, like, for Chud has.
I was just going to ask you about Chud.
Chud, yeah. How come you like Chud then? I don't know what it is about Chud. It's more the sewers are more nasty. I don't know. Like, the sewers in Chud I don't know. I don't even hate the sewers in Chud, but maybe it has something to do with having seen Chud when I was a kid.
I was just gonna say it's probably because you were familiar with Chud from the get-go.
I saw it when I was 11. Maybe
Yeah.
if I would have seen Alligator when I was 11, I'd feel differently about it. But seeing it as a guy pushing 50, I just got sick of seeing the sewers, and didn't do a whole hell of a lot for me. And there was one part of the movie where it was maybe the first third or getting into the second third, where they were down there with the chick. And one thing, well, I won't say this because I'll forget what the hell I was going to say, but there was a part where there was a light flash, and in the background you just see the huge gator head for just a minute when then the light goes away. Like, I thought that was great.
That was one of my favorite moments in the movie.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about it, is you didn't just see the thing right away. As I say, like, it's easy to compare it to the Jaws sequels and stuff and see, like, this is better than what the sequels to Jaws did. That, like, because in a lot of ways I view the sequels to Jaws as being Jaws knockoffs in the same boat.
I can understand that.
This one allowed you time before the creature fully emerged, and there was genuine, like, attempts at making it suspenseful and stuff like that.
One thing I read, and we'll see what you think about this as well, like, one thing I don't know if I was just projecting what I thought it was going to be into it, but one thing I kind of read when I watched this movie is does it have, like, a slight humorous persona to it, like, or did I just project that into it? Like, it almost has, like, a playful background. Well, I mean, I guess the subject matter of an alligator in the sewer is kind of 1950s-esque monster movie, B-movie stuff. But it had this, well, kind of like that shot of the alligator where the light just glances on it and goes away. Like, it's almost playful, kind of, I don't know how to describe it. Like, it wasn't completely serious. I mean, obviously, a giant alligator movie.
There is a notion that you're meant to have fun with this. And I think that's, like, we were talking on the way here of the difference sort of between Halloween and Friday the 13th. One of the things that I view, Halloween, all the movies are so self-serious that it's kind of hard to have fun while watching them, even as slashers, whereas the Jason movies are a little more, I don't want to say campy, because campy's not the right word, but there's a notion of fun to be had with them.
Especially with 6, I mean, come on.
So that one's, like, actually satirical and funny. But, like, even all the other ones, like, you're designed to have a good time while watching this. And I think that kind of plays into Alligator. They're like, if we're going to make a knockoff of Jaws, let's do it really well, and let's have fun with it. And I think that the movie, especially, they might have a little too much fun towards the end when it's just all over the place. The ending, which I imagine when I was a kid, I probably would have enjoyed the ending the best. As an adult, I was just like, all right, let's wind this up. I get it.
The ending being, like, just massacre at the party?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I was like, I get it.
So, yeah, unfortunately, you know, and this goes back to, it's interesting because, you know, being a kid of the 70s and the 80s and things, I tend to lean towards movies from the early or the late 70s, early 80s and things. And it's kind of like, you know, do I have a bias to that era? And it's kind of refreshing to actually see a movie from one of my favorite years, 1980, and actually not really like it, because it proves to me that, no, it's not, I'm not going to just love anything if it's from 1980. And unfortunately, you know, my experience with Alligator was just like, first 30 minutes maybe, you know, was probably the best in my opinion, but then the last hour is just like, and honestly, for a 90-minute movie, it felt a lot longer, and unfortunately, you said 3 stars?
Yeah, I give it 3 stars.
The highest I can probably go is 1.5 stars out of 4 stars.
That's fair.
I mean, we see things different. I was really excited to see what you thought. And honestly, when I guess when the thing pops out, like, maybe it was more fun when you just got glances of it, and maybe for me it got ruined when it's just out, and however they did it, like, you know, miniatures, and however they did it, kind of like the 50s. There's this movie there's all kinds of monster movies from the 50s where they put an animal in miniatures and have it destroy stuff, but maybe just having it get out and be mayhem, you know, like you said, even, like, you're so old where the end scene, you're like, okay, enough. Maybe it's like we're just getting so old that the scenes that are supposed to be like the payoff scenes that everyone goes to see are the ones that were kind of like, eh.
I mean, I get it from a filmmaking standpoint. If you're going to make a Jaws knockoff, there's a safety to Jaws that if they're on land, the shark's not going to get you. That this movie takes it away because it can get you in the water and it can get you on land. It gives you an ending that Jaws couldn't, which is now the thing is on the loose and it's capable of getting you anywhere. And now it's going to go at this dinner party. The dinner party just like dragged on a little too long. Like, all I needed to see is it kill like one or two people and I get it. But it's like, it's been a little too long in that sequence and I'm like, alright, let's wrap this up. I get it.
Before we end, one thing that I was going to say, but I didn't want to because then I might have forgot what I was going to say, was this is the era which I love, and this happened so much throughout the 80s. Maybe it started in the 70s, but this era of, okay, we've got a movie, like rated R monster movie with gore and stuff. Well, it's rated R anyway, so you have the requisite, like, okay, guy meets girl and they screw and they're, there they are naked or whatever and talk, and it's like, it's like, it was such a staple from movies back then. Like, you can't just go out to dinner or get a pizza. It's like, you gotta, I want to say they actually had sex and then went to dinner. It was like the good old days of, like, you don't see that anymore where people just, they have sex. And, I mean, it's like an integral part of the movie. Like, okay, well, obviously, where's the sex scene going to be? Oh, yeah, here. Instead, hey, we'll switch it up instead of after dinner, before dinner. But it was just so fun to just have the requisite, them getting together biblically, if you know what I mean. And kind of made me miss that era. Like, oh, those were the days where every one of these kind of movies, the two main characters, they went to bed.
Yeah.
And it was just like, that's completely lost now.
Yeah, they don't really do that anymore. I think it was the whole notion that sex sells. If you put it in the movie,
absolutely.
It'll get butts and seats kind of thing.
So I appreciated that about it. I mean, just as a throwaway thing. I've
never dug that kind of thing. This wasn't as egregious as Halloween 3. I think has the most egregious one of those scenes because.
How do we do it?
Well, like, the guy and the girl that get together, and they've clearly been implied to have been together multiple times.
Well,
and
she's pregnant.
Well, then he asks her at a certain point, he's like, how even old are you? And it's like, whoa, that's a question you asked beforehand.
Oh, did you say Halloween?
Halloween 3.
Oh, I'm thinking of Friday the 13th.
No, Halloween 3.
Halloween 3. Yeah, how old are you? Yeah, that's something to ask before.
Yeah, you've already, certainly saw it once, implied it at least twice. And then you ask the question of hang tight, you gotta rewind.
How old are you? I heard Friday the 13th Part 3.
Maybe I said Friday the 13th. I'm pretty sure I said Halloween.
Now I want to know what you said, but anyway, I was sitting here thinking,
Watch our review.
Watch our review. They just did.
Yes.
Well,
all right.
I guess that's pretty much it.
That's my overlong thoughts on
a movie that just recently came into both of our. How did you see it? Just streaming, I would imagine.
Yeah, I just I googled all of my which movies I had access to and which movies I could get from the library and stuff like that. So that was the goal is to see as many movies without paying a dime.
This is a perfect time in history to do that. So.
Yes. The benefits Matt. Of streaming.
Well, thank you very much for the suggestion, and thank you guys very much for watching.
Yep, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Let me know what you thought of the movie in the comments down below. Peace.
Bye.